people check out our website, and those of you who are joining us tonight are among over 1,000 other people who have joined us in these calls over the past month. So thank you so much for joining us. If this is your first call with us learning about a school, or if you've been with us along the journey, we really appreciate it. I will say that you can learn more about the road trip or see what else we have coming up or catch up on what you missed at roadtriptocollege.org. And on that site, you will be able to find the link to our YouTube, where we're keeping all of our past sessions, the link to our TikTok, the link to our Spotify, the link to our Instagram, all the different ways that you can be connecting with the road trip and connecting with the students and the professionals who are joining us for this journey. With that being said, I am going to introduce our panelists this evening from Virginia Tech. We have Samantha Hanna from the Office of Admissions, Taryn Winnick, who is representing Jewish Life on Campus and Hillel, Jacob Rojas, Victoria Deshevsky, and Jenny Judenberg, 3 students that we are so happy to have with us. I'm going to hand it over to Samantha in just a second. If you have any questions for our panelists, please put them in the Q&A function, and we will make sure that all of your questions get answered by the people on our call. So thank you all again for joining us this evening, and I am going to hand it off to Samantha now.
Sorry about that. Thank you, guys. Hopefully you all can see the screen right now. So we're going to get started in just a second, but I got you guys for the next 15 minutes or so, and we're really just going to talk about what Virginia Tech has to offer, as well as a little bit of updates and the application process. Then we're going to go on to our students from Hillel and so on and so forth. If you do have questions, just like they said, please put them in the question and answer section. I'll try to address them as soon as we're done. Okay, so first and foremost, this beautiful building you see here, that is Burris Hall. It's one of the most iconic buildings on campus. If you want to see a full virtual tour of campus, we actually have that on a website you'll be receiving in your follow-up email. So that said, welcome and thanks for joining us today. So a little bit about myself. My name is Samantha Hanna. I'm one of the admission counselors, like I said. Typically, my territories include Florida, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Florida is my home state, so slightly south of where you guys are from. But that said, everyone in the office can help you out at any point in the time. I'm really close with the representative for Georgia as well, so feel free to reach out and we can connect. But even though I'm from Florida, I've now been a Virginia resident for over 2 years and a proud Hokie for over 6 years. In this picture here, you'll see my fiance, who's a proud Hokie graduate, who indoctrinated me into the Hokie spirit. And now at this point in time, I'm so deep in it that my entire wardrobe is basically maroon and orange, which are our colors at Virginia Tech. All right, so that's just a little bit about myself. So we're going to jump right in. So Virginia Tech, here you'll see a snapshot of our 2019 class, which will show you that our students come from all over the world and have a wide variety of interests. So we are a large university, and we're a top research university with around 30,000 undergraduate students and 7,000 graduate students. And as you can see here, our students, like I said, are from all around the world, so they're very diverse. We are also high achieving, and they have a choice of over 100 majors to choose from. That said, major matters at Virginia Tech, and when you apply to our institution, you will be choosing one major to go into, and you can see our colleges on the side here in orange, as well as some of our top 10 most popular majors for the 2019 class. If you are undecided, that's okay as well. We have several undecided majors for you to choose from, but above all else, we recommend, if you don't know where you want to go, or if you kind of have an idea, get in touch with us, connect with one of our recruiters, because they can really help you find the right fit for you. So you may be wondering what makes Virginia Tech so unique. Well, lots of things make us special, and the proof is in the numbers. We have an excellent retention rate, over 90%, as well as great graduation and job placement rates. And that's truly because as a student, and since we are a top research institution, your classes aren't really the main place where you're learning. You're going beyond boundaries, as we call it. So you're going to be doing deep dives into your academic interests, whether it be research with professors, on your own, internships, co-ops, Study abroad, we have it on all 7 continents, including Antarctica, believe it or not. So there's lots of options for you. So we truly want you to test drive your major while you're a student and build your resume in the process. That way, when you graduate, you are ready to go. So that said, let's move on to what are we looking for in our applicants? Well, at Virginia Tech, we are all about the holistic review process. That to us means we're not only looking at who you are in the classroom, but we're also looking at who you are outside of the classroom, and we like to see balance. When it does come to academics, you'll notice that 3 little letters are not on the screen, GPA. That's because GPA to us is just a number. It changes school to school, county to county, state to state. So instead, we do a deeper dive of our applicants. We are looking at overall high performance, meaning your grades. Typically, we like to see A's and B's, as well as increasing academic rigor. We want to know that you're challenging yourselves compared to what your school has to offer. And again, major does matter. So let's say you're looking to go into a STEM field, maybe engineering. We want to see that you took advantage of that high level calculus course, whether that be AP, IB, dual enrollment, as well as a science course such as chemistry or physics. So kind of lean towards your major when you are applying. We will not hold it against you though. If your high school does not offer AP, IB, dual enrollment, if all you have to go do is honors, that's a-okay. We just want to see that you took advantage of that course. So typically, we also counted the SAT and ACT where we super scored it. This year, because of COVID-19, we are officially going test optional for the 2020-2021 applicants. That means it is up to you if you want to submit your test scores or not. It will not hurt you if you don't submit it. Honestly, submit it if you feel comfortable. There's no way it's going to be used against you. Now, if you are a 2021-22 applicant or later down the line, we do recommend checking back with us. This might stay in place, it may not. So just check back before you apply. Also, no letters of recommendation or resumes are accepted. It's all about how you present yourself on the application. So that brings us to the personal side of things. We at Virginia Tech recognize that you come with many different identities and experiences, and we want to hear about that. So whether it be your achievements, extracurriculars, if you're working, if you've already done some research, even family responsibilities, there's lots of different factors that make you who you are outside the classroom that we want to see. And with that, we have no long essays that you have to write to get into Virginia Tech. Instead, we have only 4 short personal statements, but they're very important. They focus on service and community, resilience, aka responding to discrimination, whether it's you, a friend, or a situation you witness in the world, leadership and influencing others, and then your long-term goals and mentors. These are extremely short, 120 words max, but they are up on our website now if you would like to practice. So when does our application open up and other announcements? So first and foremost, our application opens August 1st. So if you want to start applying, that is when you'll be looking for the 2020-21 session. And our newest announcement, we used to be Coalition exclusive, but as of this week, we are officially both Coalition and Common App. So if you want to apply to us, you have 2 different options now. So you may be wondering when the best time to apply is. Well, we have 3 deadlines if you are a freshman applicant coming from high school. You have early decision, early action, and regular decision. Early decision is our binding option where you are telling us Virginia Tech is your top choice school, and if accepted to Virginia Tech, you plan to come to Virginia Tech. You will apply November 1st, you'll be notified December 15th, and then you have in January to get back to us. So I usually tell students, if Virginia Tech may still be a top school, but it may not be that #1 school you want to go to, or if you are considering other things to help make your decision, such as you need to know your financial aid and scholarship package, we don't recommend early decision because even though you can still qualify for financial aid and scholarships, you won't know how much you'll be receiving until after you have to commit to us. So instead, we recommend students apply the early action route, which is our priority deadline. It is non-binding. You're still in high consideration. You get an extra month to apply because you have till December 1st. So it's kind of a win-win all around. And you have till May 1st once you're notified on February 22nd to get back to us. So if Virginia Tech is a place you're really considering, early action is where most of our applicants apply, and we recommend that path if early decision is not for you. We also do have regular decision, but we don't recommend it because it's based on space availability. Meaning, if let's say your major that you're applying to was filled up during early action and early decision, even if you're a valedictorian of your school, if you applied regular decision, you're going to get waitlisted because you missed out on opportunity and it's based on space availability. So we typically don't recommend students apply regular decision. It really only works out for majors that are not as popular, which changes every year. So it's really hard to determine that. But overall, if you stick to early action, you should be in a good standing. And if you are looking to transfer, Virginia Tech is a very friendly transfer institution. So if I do have any transfers on the call, which I don't believe I do, but if I do, please contact us. My email is in my name on the Zoom link. It's samanthah@vt.edu. We can connect you to make sure you're taking the right courses to transfer into your major. All right, so now that you are in Virginia Tech, you may be wondering, is it affordable for me and my family? Well, I'm happy to say and announce that as of June 11th, we have decided to freeze tuition from last year to this year. So we are going to keep the same cost instead of increasing. So total in-state would be 23,000, total out of state is around 42,000. That said, we want to help you there. So scholarships and financial aid are available to you. You do have to fill out a separate application, the general scholarship application, which is due January 22nd, as well as a FAFSA for both merit and need-based scholarships. We do need both things to qualify for any scholarship that Virginia Tech is going to award. So do keep that in mind. You're going to be basically filling out 3 applications: the Virginia Tech application, the general scholarship application, and I guess the last one's not an application because it's FAFSA, but it's still technically in that standing. All right, so the last thing I want to leave off on before I give this over to the students is, what is the Hokie Nation all about? Well, I am proud to say and boast that we are nationally ranked for the happiest students, the fittest students, and the most best fed students around. So we have been ranked in the top 5 dining. Oh my gosh, how many years now? Probably over 10 years. We've been in the top 5. Last year, we were actually number 1. We did get bumped down to number 2 this year, but it constantly goes back and forth. Basically, this is all to say, if you're at Virginia Tech, the food is amazing. My personal favorite dining hall that you can always ask the students is West End, because that's where you can find things like lobster and steak and delicious food. So there's lots of different options for you, but you'll be fed really well if you're at VT. Also, happiest students. We are consistently ranked, I think we're either number 1 or number 2 this year on Niche for the happiest universities where students are thriving. And that's because no matter what your interest, there's probably a club for it. We have over 900 student organizations on campus. So if you have an interest, whether it be academic, social, cultural, really anything, as we'll talk about later with Hillel and some of the other clubs that our students are part of, there's just so many options for you. And if you can't find that particular option that is for you because maybe your taste is just that eclectic, that's a-okay too. Just find some other students who want to take part in that activity and you can create a club and add to that 900 plus. All right, so athletics. So you guys actually heard the intro song and why it's so important to us for our Division I teams typically, which is Enter Sandman by Metallica. At Virginia Tech, we do have 3 levels of athletics. We have intramural, which are the just for fun rec sports. Club sports, which means you're taking it a little bit more seriously. You're going to be on a team trying out with coaches and stuff like that. I kind of compare it to varsity level in high school. And then our pre-professional Division I athletics. So typically when I talk about this, I really like to highlight our school spirit at Virginia Tech because we measure it like no other school does. At our games, when we play Enter Sandman, we have a tradition where we jump up and down to the song, and we have actually measured our school spirit on the Richter scale because we cause earthquakes in our stadiums. We actually currently hold the title for university that has caused the most self-created earthquakes in its stadiums. So we are proud to say that. So when you're at Virginia Tech, you truly do feel our school spirit. All right, so that all said and done. Again, if you want to actually take a 360 tour and see campus, please visit vt.edu/visit. There'll also be a link to our virtual visit where you'll find this plus many more videos on your follow-up email to today's session. And yeah, so if you have other questions, again, you can see my email is on my video, but we also have our main admissions email. Please feel free to reach us out to us at any point in time. I'm always happy to help. And with that said, I'm now going to hand it off to Jenny to talk about her student experiences.
Hey, I'm Jenny. I'm a senior in electrical engineering, and my focus is in controls, robotics, and autonomy. So I deal with a lot of electrical systems and things like that. So I can answer any questions about engineering process and general engineering, things like that. I'm currently very involved with Hillel. So I'm the current vice president of religion and culture, which means I'm in charge of planning all the Friday night dinners and fun things that we do on Fridays, and as well as all the holidays and things that we celebrate, which is pretty fun. I'm also last year I was the vice president of innovation. So I was basically like a think tank position where I could fix any problem I wanted to in Hillel and do basically whatever I want to make Hillel a better place for everyone, which is really fun because I love giving back to the place that's given me so much. And like all of my friends are at Hillel and I love it. Other than Hillel, I'm also involved in Alpha Omega Epsilon, which is an engineering sorority. So we do all the same things that normal sororities do, but we also have a focus on our professionalism and our future engineering careers. So we do a lot of resume reviews and things like that, which is really nice because it can be pretty daunting going into your first engineering expo and not knowing what to talk about or who to talk to or how to even present yourself when you haven't had an internship. So that's really fun too. And I get to do a lot of service and uphold Ut Prosim, which is our school's motto, and give back to the community. And other than that, I'm also in a theme park club. It's theme park engineering and design. So we go tour theme parks and learn how the rides are built and basically the engineering and design aspect of theme parks instead of just the fun, oh, let's just go ride a roller coaster. We get to see how it actually implements into in someone's job. So things like that. And otherwise around campus, I love going to West End, as Samantha said. I also love Turner's. Turner's is great. It's got a Qdoba in it, crepes, random things you'll never find on a college campus. But it's honestly, Virginia Tech is, I'm biased, but the best school ever. It's such a fun place to be. It's such a warm environment, and I love it so much. So to take it off, Victoria, you want to tell them about your experience?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Victoria. Like Jenny, I will also be a senior, and my major is very interesting. I'm studying something called packaging systems and design. It's a new major at Virginia Tech that was actually only completely funded as or started as a major in 2014. So I'm only one of the top 5 graduating classes from it, which is really interesting and crazy to think about. But I actually transferred into it after my freshman year. So if you want to talk about the process of transferring majors and changing majors, I'm very available to talk about that. Virginia Tech made it really easy. The advisors were really helpful every step of the way and really helped me figure out how I would plan out my classes so that I could still graduate. But other than that, other things I'm involved with on campus is I got involved with Hillel my sophomore year. I was the vice president of social justice and community service. So I did a lot of community service around the town of Blacksburg. We did volunteering at the animal shelter nearby, and we also wrote letters to the veterans at the VA hospital in Roanoke, which is the closest large town next to Blacksburg. But outside of Hillel, I'm currently the president of the Jewish Student Union on campus, which allows me to be a representation of Jewish students within university governance. So I get to go to meetings and sit in on conversations about what's happening in upper levels of the university and help them make decisions based on the student's perspective. And this has actually allowed me to become the chair of the Commission on Student Affairs, which is the only student chaired commission within all of university governance. So I'm very involved within the entire university governance thing. Last year, I was the secretary of SGA. So if you have any questions about how to get involved with that, I'm your person for that. And other things I do in my free time that I don't have much of, unfortunately, I practically live at Squires, so I frequent the AVP there a lot. And I like to spend a lot of time outside because you really get to experience all of the seasons in Blacksburg, and it's amazing. I love going outside in the fall and looking at the trees and sitting on my balcony and having my cup of tea and looking at how beautiful everything becomes when everything becomes Hokie colors. And then, let's see, it's about all. I also like to go to the animal shelter a lot. I'm a frequent flyer there. So I volunteer with the puppies, and I don't have my own dog. I get to play with dogs a lot and hang out with them and give them treats and take them on walks. So that's about it for me, and I'll pass it off to Jacob.
All right, hi everyone. My name's Jacob. I'm a little bit younger than Jenny and Victoria. I'm just a rising sophomore. I'm a double major studying food science and technology and Virginia Tech's newest major, public health. So if you have any questions about like the pre-med track, the pre-health professions track, just in the questions answer box, we're more than happy to help. So I have the unique pleasure of serving as the Vice President of Jewish First Year Advisory and Mentorship at Hillel. This means that my job is solely to work with freshmen on recruitment and engagement. So that means essentially any question you have about Jewish life on campus, I should be able to answer and help find you the right path that your Jewish identity takes you on throughout college. So some fun things about me. So I think Jenny and Victoria forgot to mention, they're both from Atlanta, but I'm not. I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia, but now live outside of Raleigh. So we're all kind of in the same boat, being on that out-of-state vibe. We all can probably assure you above and beyond how Virginia Tech is so accommodating to undergraduate out-of-state students, and that even though we are kind of the smaller population, you'll find an immediate home within Virginia Tech, no matter where you're from. And yeah. So besides Hillel Virginia Tech, I'm also involved with the Zeta Beta Tau fraternity, Virginia Tech's newest Greek organization on campus, where I'm the director of communications, which is super awesome. I'm also involved in Kappa Kappa Psi, which is a music honorary society, which is kind of related to the Spirit of Tech, which is Virginia Tech's marching band, which is super awesome. So if you have any questions, any band nerds, ask me questions. It's okay. You can come out of the, you can be open and honest with us. We are here to answer your questions. Besides that, I'm also involved with the Peer Mentors Association for the College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences, which is super awesome. So again, me, Victoria, and Jenny, and even Taryn, we are all here to really help you and experience all that Virginia Tech has to offer. I know that when I came to college, I was super nervous and super scared, kind of being an out-of-state student about what to expect, but Virginia Tech, from the second I got here, just felt like home. And as it is, it really is true. Virginia Tech is home. And as soon as you kind of get acclimated to the college environment, you'll thrive. So I guess handing it off to Taryn to talk a little bit more about Jewish life on campus.
Thank you, Jacob. So my name is Taryn. I work at Hillel at Virginia Tech as the IAC coordinator. So basically anything that has to do with birthright or Israel, I'll be your girl. So like everyone has said, if you have any questions about Jewish life on campus, put them in the Q&A and we will get to them as soon as possible. Virginia Tech is home to around 2,000 Jewish students, so pretty big population. I know when I was moving to Blacksburg, I was fairly convinced that the Jewish population was not that large, but fun fact, it is. And the students are welcomed on campus at Hillel. We have, like Jacob mentioned, ZBT is now on campus along with AEPI. And then there's also JSU, which Victoria is a part of. Hillel Leadership Board, we have about 30 students involved on our executive board and our general board, ranging in different things from innovation, community service, religion and culture, all different things, depending on what you're interested in. We hold weekly Shabbat services led by Jenny, who you guys just met. So they are student-led services. So if Jewish text, religion, Shabbat services is your thing, let us know and you'll work with Jenny next year. And we have high holidays every year. Our building for Passover, we typically have around 250 local families, students, friends, basically everyone come to our building. I know a lot of you guys missed your chance to tour campus, so I will in a minute put in the chat a tour of our building. Let me think. We have a student lounge also in our building that students use to relax. There's a foosball table. Sometimes there's ping pong in our multi-purpose room. There's a TV. There's always stuff in the fridge that students go through and eat. Let me think. We have a full kosher kitchen. All of our meals that we have for Shabbat are kosher, cooked in our kosher kitchen. So it's split meat and dairy. And we have lots of different events in our multi-purpose room and a beautiful fire pit outside. We have s'mores nights. We have an outdoor screen for movie nights. Everyone is welcome, no matter. Bring your roommates, bring your friends from home. We're here for you guys. So like I said, if you have any questions about Jewish life on campus, we do a lot every week, so let us know.
Thank you guys so much for such an informative presentation from everybody. I'm going to ask all our presenters to go ahead and turn their cameras back on so we can see all of you. Okay, great. Thank you guys. For everybody out there, if you have questions, please go ahead and drop them in the Q&A. I want to just draw attention our wonderful presenters. We're doing a great job of answering questions while this was going on. But I did just want to give people a chance to say some things out loud. So Samantha, do you want to just say what you said about class rank and demonstrated interest in the chat, just for everybody, make sure they caught it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can actually just talk about it without, I'm not going to read stuff. So demonstrated interest and class rank are not considered when on the application process. You can tell us your class rank, but to us, just like GPA, class rank is different school to school, county to county, state to state. We've had some people who are like, I'm third in class out of 5. That doesn't tell us a lot. So if you want to tell us, that's fine. We really do look at you compared to your high school. So the same with the courses you take, you are being looked at via your high school. So that kind of, it really depends on your school, but it's not something that we're truly looking at. Same with demonstrated interest. It's not something we track. However, we do recommend you take part in things like this, as well as our other sessions, because that will just not, it's not something where it puts you on our radar exactly, though we would love that. We do like your information to keep in touch, but we're just about providing information for you so that you can present yourself as the strongest applicant that you can be. So the more info you get from us, the better it's going to be for you. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, we're not tracking that demonstrated interest.
Okay.
So.
Great. Thanks for thanks for sharing that. Okay, Jacob, you asked for the band nerds to come out and they came out for you. So do you want to talk a little bit about the band and whatever you want to share? They were asking how competitive it is to get on.
Yeah, sure thing. So the Spirit of Tech is a super awesome organization. Originally it was known as the 330 strong, but it kind of fluctuate depending on the year. So kind of talking about the competitiveness, it really depends on the year. It's kind of like an application portal, as crazy as that sounds. So last year there were over 8,000 freshmen who attended or decided to attend Virginia Tech. So obviously there were a lot of band nerds came out of the woods to come apply. So it really does depend on the year. The application portal is super easy. That can be found on the Spirit of Tech's website. And it'll go through the entire application and admission process for, I say like terms like that, but that's how the organization wants us to talk about them. Application and audition process goes through. It's essentially like auditioning for any other band organization that you probably did in high school, like all state, all county, whatever it is. You do a short scale, a short sight reading, and that's essentially it. It's super awesome. You get to meet a lot of older students who kind of get to take you under their wing and teach you more and more about tech as you go. I know when I first came to college, like I said, I was a little bit nervous, and joining the band, and especially Hillel, meeting all those older students really helps you kind of feel more comfortable and confident going throughout your entire school year.
Awesome.
If you don't mind me jumping in real quick, just because I'm also going to learn from my students here today. We also do have other bands on campus. There's different groups. So there's one for something I didn't mention, but we are one of 6 senior military institutions as well. So we have an entire corps of cadets. So if you were to join them, they have their own band called the Heidi Tidies. So it really, there's different groups to join. Like I said, over 900, but I just wanted to make you aware that there are several different musical groups to join.
Great. Thank you. Here, they're still asking about band. You asked for it and they're going to keep coming out. Okay. So we had a question about housing, number of freshmen who lived on campus, dorm life, dining programs. I would love to start with some student voices. Just kind of where did you live freshman year? What was your life like as a freshman on campus?
I can take one.
Oh,
We'll start with
go
Jenny.
ahead.
First. So I was in a living learning community, which is basically a dorm or part of a dorm that's set for just one specific type of student. So my type was engineering. So I was in the engineering LLC. So basically I lived on a hall with all engineering girls, and it was nice because we could do our homework together because the general engineering classes are all the same pretty much, and you're learning the same things. So you can work with pretty much anyone when you're starting out. So it was really nice to be able to walk down and see people, girls specifically in my classes, that maybe I didn't see a lot of them in class, but I got to know a lot of them. So it wasn't like I was the only girl in all my classes, which was nice to see. But it was also really nice because they would have extra stuff for us. So we had an entire inventor studio in the bottom of our dorm where we could go down there and get trained and learn how to make anything we wanted. So I could 3D print up a phone case. I could make picture frames. Anything you think of, you can make it. There's drills and everything you would ever need. And it's really fun because there's stuff, the different teams in the dorm that use that. So there was like a rocketry team and things like that. So even if you're confused on like what you want to do, there's so many options of figuring it out and trying it out, testing it like that. And as for dining, honestly, we have the best food ever. It's no other college will ever compare. There's a Chick-fil-A on campus. I think that just ends the debate right there. There are milkshakes in the Chick-fil-A place. It's great. Other than that, if you want tips on what to get, I love getting Qdoba bowls. They're my favorite thing to get. It's fantastic. If you don't know what Qdoba is, you will. It's kind of like Moe's, but better. Other than that, I think Vicky had a different experience, right? You're in a different dorm?
Yeah. So I chose to go the I would say the most like typical dorm life experience you could think of. I had a dorm that was co-ed. It had no AC, and it was like, a bunch of rooms down the hall, and we had a bathroom at the end of the hall that everyone shared. And I was really a little bit nervous when I first got this. Me and my roommate got a later spot to pick housing. So the dorm I lived in, Vada, was actually not one of my first choices, but I ended up loving it. It was one of the greatest experiences I had. I became really good friends with a few of the girls in my hall. One of the girls is actually my best friend. We're moving into a townhouse together like in August. She got a dog and I'm like its godmom pretty much. So it really does bring you close to people. And really don't be worried about the no AC in dorms thing. If you look on Reddit, some people freak out about it. I know a lot of people go on Reddit to figure stuff out. As long as you have like 2 fans, even 1 fan by the window, you're fine. It does not get hot enough in Blacksburg for it to get hot in your dorm. If it is hot, it's for like 2 days. It's not Georgia weather, don't worry. It's really manageable. And I lived on the top floor of my dorm, which would be the hottest place. And we had no problems with the fans running for I would say up until maybe the middle of September, we were fine. And the hall bathroom thing, it's also not a problem. Virginia Tech has an amazing custodial staff that actually come and clean the bathrooms on a rotating basis every day. So the bathrooms were really never that dirty. Everything was clean. The showers weren't what horror stories I'd heard about could happen in them. So honestly, Virginia Tech does an amazing job making sure that all students are really happy and safe and out, like the living conditions are great. And then let's see, dining, great place. You really can't go wrong with any of our dining halls. As Jenny said, they're all great. And then there was a question about if there had been any anti-Semitic incidents on campus. I could answer this really quickly. Last year, I was the president of our Friends of Israel group. So as that could target more hate in some ways. And we have been very lucky at Virginia Tech that in the past few years, there haven't been any open attacks or incidents to any like halal related events, Chabad, any Friends of Israel related events, which has been really great. There was an incident, I want to say 4 years ago now, that on a Friday night, the Chabad was littered with papers full of swastikas, but it was dealt with promptly. The police, the Blacksburg MVT police got involved. I'm not sure what the outcome was, but there hasn't been anything since. And as the president of JSU, I actually had a meeting a few months ago with the captains of the Virginia Tech Police Department and the Blacksburg Police Department, talking with them about what would happen if something happened. It was a very proactive meeting. We just wanted to know what was going on or what measures they had in place. And they were really helpful. They really said that no hate stands anywhere on campus, and that even if there's the slightest incident, they're going to reach out to students to make sure that everybody is well taken care of. And it really is their goal to make sure that they find who is the responsible party and making sure that nothing happens again, because they, like, Virginia Tech is home and they really want everybody to feel like it's home. And obviously you shouldn't feel unsafe in your own home. So they really are looking out for all students.
Great. Thank you. Those were such great answers. I am really glad we asked about dorms. I learned a lot about some really great dorms. But thank you also for sharing. Since we have transitioned into slightly talking about Jewish life on campus with what Victoria said, I just wanted to throw it to you, Taryn, to see if you wanted to add anything on that topic.
Yeah. So something our Hillel offers as well is we do staff-led programs. So we have a Jewish Learning Fellowship that is taught by our Springboard Fellow, which goes through connecting Jewish texts to today's world and life. So there is a stipend. It's typically 8 weeks, and we'll meet, I think the classes this year met from around 7 p.m. to like 8:15, 8:30. And then our Israel Fellow leads a Sababa course, so basically Israel 101. And it also has the stipend, also will last around the same like 8-week time period. So great ways to get involved off the bat. I know Jacob last year did JLF with our Springboard Fellow and really enjoyed it. So it's open from freshmen to seniors, anyone can do it. So it's a great way just to get involved, learn more about holidays, traditions, text, Israel history, really anything you are interested in. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna throw it back to you, Samantha. You mentioned before about the encouraging people to apply early action because majors fill up, I think is how you explained it. So this is a question somebody was asking about caps on majors and just how that works.
Yeah, and I wanted to do a deeper dive, hence me answering it live. So thank you for that. So this is going to be a lot of kind of info behind the scenes, so you guys get the behind the scenes version. We do apply by major, like I said. So our university is a land grant institution, so we are committed to 70% in-state versus 30% out-of-state students. But that said, we have seats saved for in-state versus out-of-state. So in-state students are only going to be competing with in-state students for majors, whereas out-of-state students are only competing with out-of-state students for the major. So majors, which by the way, engineering and computer science are one and the same here, because all students, when you apply to engineering, you start off as a general engineer, and then your second year, you can switch into one of our many different engineering fields, including computer science. Business also, by the way, has a computer science-like major called Business Information Technologies, which you may want to look into as well. But yeah, so yes, there are seats, and depending on how competitive the major is that year, they can fill up. It's not technically a cap type of system, but it is something where if you were to wait till regular decision, if the space is filled because that major was just so competitive that year, which I will let you know now, engineering typically is one of the more competitive majors. You definitely want to make yourself the best type of applicant you can be. So early action is why I'm stressing that, because that's the place to go. If not early decision, they're both kind of the same in that respect versus regular. So I hope that kind of addresses it. You guys now know how we work here, but yeah. And
No, I think that's really helpful. Yeah, go ahead. Answer the next question
yeah,
about
just the next one was, what's the average test scores and grades for out-of-state students? So test scores, it really depends on the major. And this year, it's like I said, it's optional SAT, ACT scores. So really, the only major I would say, hey, definitely put it out there is if you have a really high math score on the ACT or SAT and you're trying to be an engineer, that's not going to hurt to put in the application. However, if you don't have that score, which I would say it could really range any year differently, but typically a 700 and above, you definitely want to make sure you can put that in, but it's just an extra factor to consider out of the many different things we look at in the holistic review. Grades, though, we like A's and B's. We also, like I said, want to see that rigor. So if you got a C in something, especially if it's unrelated to your major, maybe in 9th grade, but you've improved over time, that's okay. We understand those things. Each student's different, and that's why we do that deep dive. So I hope that kind of helps it out. And math and statistics it depends every year on how competitive a major is, but typically math and statistics alone as majors in the College of Science are not as competitive as something like engineering.
Yeah, great. I'm so glad you're following along in the Q&A. There was another question about the architecture school and if there's portfolio requirements. So just keep going through all these majors. They keep asking. Go ahead.
No, I'm glad you guys are reaching out about majors. And again, please reach out to us personally here in admissions, and we'll have a long conversation about this if you'd like on a personal level. But architecture, we are one of the top architecture schools in the US as well. It is competitive, and it's also one of the few majors you actually can't transfer externally from another school into. We do not ask for a portfolio. You actually create your portfolio your first year. So in order to be competitive for our architecture program, we typically recommend, of course, just like any other student, take those higher level courses and perform well. I would recommend probably trying to get calculus in there if you can, but it's not a requirement like it would be for engineering. So I hope that helps. And yes, veterinary medicine, your major is animal and poultry science or dairy science in the College of, gosh, I'm all over the place, in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. We also do have a veterinary school for graduate degrees where you'll actually find our public health major as an undergrad. I'm not sure why, and maybe Jacob can explain one day to me. But basically, yeah, we have a great vet school where we have tons of animals on campus as well that you can interact with. So yeah, hope that helps answer all those questions. Please reach out to me if you want to go into a deeper dive though.
That was like admission questions, rapid fire for you. So very, very well done. Very well done. And it's interesting because we've done a lot of these tours, and this is an interesting major system. So I understand why people have a lot of questions about it. According to my list, we have answered all the questions in the Q&A, but I'm going to say to everybody out there, this is your chance. If you have a question, let us know. But I will say that there will be an email going out after this so that you can contact our speakers tonight. All of them are people who are willing to get on a call at 5 o'clock to talk about their school. So they would be more than happy to continue to talk to any of you and answer any specific questions that you have. Also, if you didn't see Jacob's wonderful Instagram takeover today on JumpSpark ATL, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to even learn more about the student experience at school. I'm not seeing any more questions popping up. So I'm going to say thank you to all of our presenters for this very informative hour about Virginia Tech. We love seeing your school spirit and sharing that with everybody who's on the road trip. Like I said at the beginning, there's a question. Okay, there's another question that's come in. I'm going to say my thing and then I hand it back to Samantha. So the road trip is continuing for the next, till the end of June. It's okay, Justin, we'll answer all your questions. It's going till the end of June. Please check out roadtriptocollege.org to see what else is coming and follow us on our social media at JumpSparkATL. I want to say thank you to the Teen Funder Collaborative, to our partners at Forefront, for everybody who is working to make this amazing road trip come together. And for a final word, I'm going to throw it back to Samantha.
All right, so this is actually an excellent question because things have changed from past years. So in the past, we actually used to allow for you to pick a backup major. That is no longer the case. We only accept you into one major. So if you don't get accepted into that major, you can't switch to something else. It won't hurt you if you do decide, hey, I want to apply in another year, but it's really good to know in advance your major right away. If you choose the wrong major, once you're at Virginia Tech, you can switch it. That's not hard to do. You work with your academic advisor, but when you're applying to get in, you have to choose the major you want to get into. And some majors are restricted, like engineering, so you'll have to apply directly to that school because otherwise it is difficult to internally transfer into it. But again, these are questions that I'm always happy to go on a one-on-one with. But yeah, the reason, by the way, I just want to end with that of why we don't do the second major anymore is because students choose their first major for a reason. Usually it's because that's what they want to do. And if you get thrown into a major you don't want to do, you tend to leave. We don't want that. No one wants you to be set back at all. So that's why we got rid of it. It wasn't working out for our students and it wasn't working out for our departments as well. So that's why that's the case. What is the acceptance rate? It is 70%, but it is different by major. So some majors have a more competitive and thus a lower acceptance rate, but overall 70%. Thank you guys all for the questions.
I'm watching the list to see if more are going to pop up. Okay, I think we're good. If anybody has more questions that we didn't get to, we know that people love having their questions answered. Again, please reach out to our panelists to learn more. Thank you again to everyone for joining us and sharing with us about Virginia Tech. And we will see you all again soon, we hope. Have a good night.